Hello, and welcome to the 150th episode of the gojenn podcast. I am your hostess, gojenn, and I am so glad you're here. This is my first time to start on a every 2-week schedule, so I'm going to see how it feels, see how you folks like it. If you hate it, let me know, whatever. I just got back from walking the dog, so my hair's a mess and my nose is red because it's kind of nippy out there. It's cool, but it's still a beautiful sunshiny day. So see what I'm all covered up with? Why, yes, it's my granny square afghan that was finished for my owl. I did complete it like I was supposed to by March 31st. I submitted it as complete on March 31st, that day. It was in the afternoon, so I had a couple hours to spare, but I didn't really worry about it as I was down to the bordering. And if you see, I just did it's like a granny square border with the groups of 3 double crochets all the way around twice. And I joined with this green yarn, and I did this, I like this join. To me, it is open very much like the granny squares. So I'm glad I did this. I'm happy with it. I'm glad I finished. I finished my socks. I finished my sock yarn blanket and the virus shawl in 3 months, and I'm just don't know what to do with myself since I got my chores out of the way, my must-dos. But this is my blanket. I will put pictures at the end that I use to turn it in, where I'm standing up with it, and it's almost as tall as I am, and I'm 5'9". So, what else? A lot of nothing has happened since the last time I saw you. Can't think of anything. That's terrible. We went camping to the beach, but that was before last time. So we're going to go camping again in 2 weeks. So that's when my next scheduled podcast will be. So we'll probably be home from the beach. We're going to a North Carolina state campground. So we're looking forward to that. We'll see. I got some happy mail. I'm going to be leaning because I've got everything stacked up over here beside me. So let me lean and show you what wonderful viewer Lisa sent me. She messaged me on, and part of it's over there, out of reach. So I'm just going to tell you about that. But she messaged me on Ravelry and said, do you still need mini skeins? I said, well, yes, I do. I always do. I'm addicted. That's kind of like asking a crackhead if they want some crack. Why, yes, I do. Look what she sent me. This plus 2 big skeins of self-striping yarn for socks, sock yarn. It was some serious squeeing here. My dogs didn't know what was going on because I was making such a fuss. Look what I got. And all I wanted to do was immediately get like 6 hooks going and start crocheting everything all at once. So, since I finished my sock yarn blanket, thank you, Lisa, from the bottom of my pea-picking heart. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. I can't wait to play. So what else am I going to be, see, I told you I was going to be leaning, doing with the sock yarn minis? Such fun stuff. I decided that I'm going to do a kind of a mishmash of squares. Some that I had, this was supposed to be in the sock yarn blanket, but it was too big for the rest of the squares, or I lost it, or anyway, I found it. And so what I am planning on doing, if you remember, I said I was making some Tunisian mitered squares. Well, I did. This is one of them. This is another. And I've decided that I'm just going to make a kind of a puzzle piece pillow for our camper. And I'm just going to kind of join it up like that as I go. You see that that's going to kind of fit even though they're not the same. So that's what I plan to do, and make a pillow for our couch in our camper. Because I was thinking, okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm not really in the mood to do a whole blanket. Excuse me if you hear the jingling, that is Bella scratching. There she goes again. So just pretend that that's Santa. I don't know. Bella, Bella. She just looks at me like, what? And keeps scratching. So I'm going to take these and add on to them until I have enough to fit around a pillow form that I have, that I found. Yes, I knew I had it. I thought I did anyway, and then it was there. Who knew? So I'm just going to be making some squares. No pattern in particular. This is the Tunisian mitered square. This is the solid square, it's a solid, they call it a solid granny, or it's the square that's used in the Babette blanket. This is a little granny square. This is another solid square like Babette. This is a solid square with a granny square on the end. So that's what I'm planning to do. No particular pattern, just until I have a piece big enough to make into a pillow cover for a pillow to go on our sofa in our camper. And that made me so happy, because I was sitting there going, what are you going to do with these? Because these are easy projects for me to do. A little square for a class in the Harry Potter Knitting and Crochet House Cup. But then, okay, so you're going to do the squares, what are you going to do with them? And that's how I got so many squares to do in my sock yarn blanket. I did them for classes and such. So this is living in my fancy zip top bag for now. I couldn't be bothered to find anything else at the time. Also, plans for the sock yarn. So sweetly, this is not it. Sorry, nothing. Do you remember Bullwinkle when he would pull? He said, "Now we're going to pull a rabbit out of his hat," and it was a lion, and he would say, "What?" That was one of those. This is the 10-stitch Tunisian square that I had started long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away. And so here's where I am now. And this never fits into the prompts for Harry Potter, because for Harry Potter they want you to be finished. All edges bound off, ends woven in. Well, this won't be woven in until I finish. So then I can use it for like a partial or a detention project, which is for a work in progress, until I get several more rounds. But this is such a wonderfully fun project to take in my bag that has a clear bottom, and I love to look at this. Isn't that exciting? It just makes my heart go pitter-pat. Because if there's one thing I like, it's a work in progress, a blanket, something beautiful, some colorful yarn. I love this. I would like a dress out of this. I'm not going to do it though. I'm sure I would say I was going to have a dress, and then I'd end up saying, well, no, it's just going to be a shirt length, and then no, it's just going to be a bolero. And then, well, no, it's going to be a square on my blanket. That's all I could, because big projects, big single projects drive me insane. That's why I have a sweater that's finished except for a sleeve, because I get so tired of working on the same thing that it just drives me crazy. And I can hear you saying, but wait, you've made 2 big blankets recently. Yeah, but to make them, I made little squares. Or, you know, the 12-inch squares that I was making, the granny squares, to use up my acrylic stash. So yes, they're big projects, but they're done in modular fashion so that they're small. And I have 2 patterns that I have saved on my Ravelry queue of patterns that I want to do of sweaters, crochet sweaters. And I may do them soon-ish. What else have I started? Isn't this fun? I mean, this is so much more fun than saying, here, I've crocheted or knit this much on a sock. Whoopee! And another thing is, it's been 2 weeks instead of 1 week. This is a project in process. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Okay, I am. I'll give you a hint. Don't you think that's pretty? I think it'll be even prettier when I'm finished. So yeah, that's a hat. And I am using a pattern. I really am. Is anything else using a pattern? No. This is the Mallory Messy Bun hat. And it's by It sure is. Well, her name, Crochet Dreams with a Z. I very rarely make a hat that's seamed. It's so easy to just work in the round, I mean with hats, but I'm following the pattern for this one. And it has some special finishing techniques on it that I'm gonna be checking out, see how they go. So let's see. That's my minis, my little sock yarn squares. I showed you my big blanket that's all finished. I think that's everything that's in process. Whoopee! And I can't tell you how I feel the weight of that owl project has been lifted. I'm so glad I did it. If I hadn't, I would have maybe finished the virus shawl, but nothing else would be finished, I'm sure. The blanket would still be in squares, both of them. Nothing else would be done. So I am, especially the 2 socks. I'm really happy with that. Although I see you out there, Christy Rose, I'm pretty sure you're posting a pair of socks, what, every 2 or 3 days that you've finished? How do you do that? I'm posting a pair once every 3 months or so. I did splurge and buy a skein of Arnie and Carlos Pear-Fict yarn, Pear, P-A-I-R, and it is supposed to be just made to make 2 perfectly identical socks, and that even has waste yarn in there, so you'll know when it's time to do the heel, the leg. I'm sorry, excuse me, I'm sneezing. And that's what happens when I go outside. So besides having fun and starting a bunch of new crochet projects, yeah, I don't have any new knitting projects. I need to cast on another pair of socks. I don't hate the socks. I just hate that I'm such a slow knitter and that I make boo-boos and have little holes that I have to go back and fix. You know what I mean? It just makes me sad. Here is April in my bullet journal. And my mom asked, when do you do that? Well, when I set up a new month, that generally takes some time. I will, usually at work, because I can draw on my desk, not on my desk, but have my journal on my desk, and I use a ruler and everything's nice and pretty. But then I'll go back in later and do any decorating titles, maybe anything that has to be carried over from the previous month. I did a one-page wellness spread, and I'm hiding it because I have secret information like my weight. Nobody knows my weight. I even have to bunk the nurses over the head so they'll forget it after they weigh me at the doctor's office. How's my diet going, you may ask? Well, my daughter called me out because on one episode I was saying that Weight Watchers is, to me, one of the only diets that will work because it teaches you how to eat and how to live eating that way. And I still believe that if you're looking for a weight loss, a diet, or a program to follow, Weight Watchers is by far better than anything else that's out there. Okay? That being said, I am doing the keto diet, ketogenic, which is no to very low carbs, high protein, and high fat. I've lost 10 pounds, and I've hit a sticking point, that's fine with me. But one of my reasons for going the keto route is that I'm trying to get my blood sugar and my, all my numbers down. I had a little health screening at work about a month ago, and everything was just off the charts. And I think they just caught me on a bad day. So I've been, to me, everything I've read about the keto program, there are no real rules other than very, very low carbs. I mean, like the carbs that you get in a salad that doesn't have any sugar or bread in it, just the carbs that are naturally occurring in the vegetables. That's about it for the day. Then if you add salad dressing, if you have something else, you have to really watch your carbs. So I have been doing that, and I'm hoping to see a real improvement in my numbers the next time I go to the doctor, which will be in June. So, what else have I been doing besides eating a lot of protein and fat? And I feel guilty, just so they know, because for so long, when I was on Weight Watchers especially, or because I was trying to, actively lose weight, not so much for health purposes, but just to lose weight, you look for the no fat. Well, if you're looking for no fat, when they take the fat out, they put carbs in, starches and sugars. And if you read labels, my husband and I went to the grocery store today, and if you read the labels, it's wheat starch, soy starch, or dextrose, or sugar, everything. It limits you a lot to eating fresh food. I eat salads a lot, but I like a good salad. I like A big, beautiful salad makes me just as happy as a steak. That's a true statement, yeah. So anyway, what else have I been doing? As far as weather goes, we've had some weather. Snow, rain, sleet, cold, windy, sunny, warm, hot. These past 2 weeks, if I should have charted the weather because it would have been a squiggle because it has been ridiculous. I live in Southern Virginia and we've had everything. I personally have put away my winter coat and I'm kind of refusing to get it back out. So I'm hoping it doesn't get cold again. I'm tired of it. I'm ready for spring. And things are turning green. The dogwoods are blooming here. So I'm pretty sure spring is on its way. I've been reading and listening to books. I think I told you last time that I was reading The Thirst by Joe Nesbø, which is the last book that has come out in the Harry Hole series. He's my Norwegian detective that I just adore. He's not a very likable guy a lot of the time, but he's very human, and that makes him be top notch with me. Plus, he solves the cases, and I really like that. So I have finished that. That was an Audible book. Haven't started anything new on Audible yet. I think I've got one loaded, but I don't remember what it is. Anyway, sometimes when I finish a book like The Thirst, I have to take a little break and let it soak in because about 75% of the way through the book, it ended. Or you got the feeling that, well, that was that. And, you may have another chapter that says everybody's at a barbecue and happy and all this good stuff. But no, we find out that there's more going on. So it was like that last 25% of the book was, what? Every time you turned around. I love those stories. I highly recommend them. The author is Joe Nesbø. He's from Norway. I am reading on my Kindle The Last Remnant, which is the third in the 4-line trilogy by Pam Brandos. I know I said the first one when I had first started it was slow, it was losing my interest, but once it got going, it got much more interesting. And I have enjoyed these books very much. I'm on the last one, and I kind of don't want it to end. So I may not be reading as fast as I probably could because I kind of want it to last a little bit longer. But I'm enjoying it a lot. Okay, then I wanted to mention some things that I've been watching. Some of these are on Amazon Prime and some are on Netflix. But I wanted to give thumbs up to these so that if you're just casting about, what am I going to watch? Because that's what I do. I can spend the time that it takes to watch a movie just browsing through the movies on Netflix and Amazon Prime. So I watched, it was a series, The Kettering Incident. It takes place in Tasmania, which is an island off of New Zealand and Australia, and it is absolutely beautiful country, beautiful terrain, lush, beautiful country. So I enjoyed that. It's kind of a sci-fi mystery, maybe aliens, we're not sure. I really enjoyed it. However, it ends on a cliffhanger, kind of. And I didn't see that the second season is anywhere near getting ready to come out. I wish it would, because I found the story enjoyable. Also, I watched the movie Moonrise Kingdom, which is a Wes Anderson movie about two kids that go missing on an island, but it's nowhere near scary. It's just a calm, happy little movie. I really enjoyed it. I watched Bright, which is the Will Smith movie. I think it's on Amazon Prime, with Joel Edgerton playing an orc, and he's the first orc policeman. And other than, it's just our regular world, except they're elves and orcs, and the elves are top society, and the orcs are lower than the low. They're barely treated as human, or they're not human, they're orcs, but it's a real class, race struggle. But then it's really a good movie because it's about a magic wand. Whoopee! And I enjoyed it a lot. I did. I also watched Chicken People. I'm pretty sure that was on Amazon Prime. That's about people who show chickens, prize-winning chickens. Who knew? I mean, it's like the dog shows with these very expensive dogs. Well, these chickens are something else, let me tell you. They're all fluffy, and they have to have their little comb upright and their little floppy red thing all just perfect. It's fascinating. And it's just a glimpse into another culture, where people have their own fascination with these birds. It's really interesting because some of the people kind of treated them as numbers, that, number 1 and 3 had baby 5, and baby 5 with the bird 6 over here had baby 12, and that kind of thing. But others was like, oh, my favorite bird that won another prize, this is his grandchild or something. It's just interesting. I enjoyed that a lot too. So, we're almost 30 minutes. Are you ready for me to shut up? What's coming up? Camping. We'll be camping in 2 weeks, which we should be home by the time it's time for another podcast, but I will try to remember to record some while I'm camping. And again, Lisa, thank you for my happy mail. I greatly appreciate it. I truly do. Thank you very much. And thank all of you for joining me whenever you are, wherever you are watching. I hope you're having a good couple of weeks, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. And until then, I wish you nothing but love and laughter.